Hey everyone, Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com. Today's video, I thought I would do something a little bit different since I had some suggestions lately from the survey that told me that I should try something different. A lot of people are having a hard time finding inspiration. And one of the ways that I have found inspiration, and especially when I first started my photography career, was studying other photographers. And I know I've mentioned it a number of times. Well, my favorite photographer that I've studied for years and years, started studying him in college, is Yousuf Karsh. And first I thought I would share a quick story from him about his most famous photograph, and then also share some quotes and some things that I've learned from Yousuf Karsh. My portrait of Winston Churchill changed my life. I knew that after I had taken it that it was an important picture, but I could hardly have dreamed that it would become one of the most widely reproduced images in the history of photography. In 1941, Churchill visited first Washington, then Ottawa. The Prime Minister, Mackenzie King, invited me to be present. After the electrifying speech, I waited in the speaker's chamber where, the evening before, I had set up my lights and camera. The Prime Minister, arm in arm with Churchill and followed by his entourage, started to lead him into the room. I switched on my floodlights. A surprised Churchill growled, "What's this? What's this?" No one had the courage to explain. I timorously stepped forward and said, "Sir, I hope I will be fortunate enough to make a portrait worthy of this historic occasion." He glanced at me and demanded, "Why was I not told?" When his entourage began to laugh, this hardly helped matters for me. Churchill lit a fresh cigar, puffed at it with a mischievous air, and then magnanimously relented, "You may take one." Churchill's cigar was ever present. I held out an ashtray, but he would not dispose of it. I went back to my camera and made sure that everything was all right technically. I waited. He continued to chomp vigorously at his cigar. I waited. Then I stepped toward him, and without premeditation, but ever so respectfully, I said, "Forgive me, sir," and plucked the cigar out of his mouth. By the time I got back to my camera, he looked so belligerent he could have devoured me. It was at that instant I took the photograph. That story really kind of impacted me in that, number one, you should know what you want to do on the way in the door when you're ready to shoot. Number two, find a way to interact with the model or with whatever it is that you want to shoot. If you want, a mean look, then that's what you go after. Then put them in that mean peace of mind. If you want them to be happy and fun, then do your best to keep them in that happy and fun peace of mind. That really goes to making sure that your equipment is right, just like Yousuf had to do. Making sure that your lighting looks good, just like he had to do. There's all those parts and pieces and things that he wanted to really create, but he had no idea he was just going to create this amazingly iconic image that really kind of stands out in history, and has just become an amazing photograph that for me has definitely 100% impacted my entire photography career. I have a couple of quotes here that I thought I would mention by Yousuf Karsh. First one, "Within every man and woman a secret is hidden, and as a photographer it is my task to reveal it if I can." Basically, we have this kind of wall that we put up. And I know I talk about portraits a lot, but that's the thing that I love to do and love to create. I love to work with people. And so a lot of people have this wall, and they have this kind of thing that they always do. It's no different than when you first meet like a new girl or a new guy. You have this kind of wall that's in between you, and then eventually it kind of breaks down. Well, a lot of times it's the same with us as photographers. We need to learn to break down that wall and kind of relate to people and to get into their mind a little bit and to get them to relax. And that's not something that can happen right away. It's something that you really need to be able to develop. It's something that you need to be able to spend a little bit of time with that person in order to kind of get over that hump to create that great photograph. Look and think before opening the shutter. The heart and mind are the true lens of the camera. This goes to what I always talk about, which is pre-visualization. I've talked about this a number of times in a lot of my videos, but you just need to concentrate and think about what you want to create. What do you want that photo to look like? And if you cannot picture what you want it to look like, then you probably are not going to create what you wanted. You're not going to get what you want. So you need to be able to concentrate, and you need to be able to see it. If you can't see it, if you're having trouble seeing it, then you either need to spend some more time doing that, or you need to spend more time practicing and shooting, or you need to spend more time studying other photographers' work and developing your own style and figure out exactly what direction you want to go. Maybe you're creating the completely wrong type of image for what you like. Maybe it's just not your style to go out and do, candid portraits or whatever it may be. So maybe you need to think about a different subject matter altogether. Another one here, it should be the aim of every photographer to make a single exposure that shows everything about the subject. I've been told that my portrait of Churchill is an example of this. That is definitely the case. I implore you to take out your camera one day, and I've made this challenge before. Take a piece of tape, put it on the back of your camera, make sure you're only going to shoot like 12 or 24 photos. Don't look at the screen, don't look at the histogram, concentrate on the meter, concentrate on your settings. Doing something like that is what's going to make you a better photographer, because you can only do one thing and picture what that image is going to look like in your mind, instead of relying on the technology and the screen and the camera and the digital and the camera, you know what I mean, and the things that in your hand. Just rely on kind of what's in your head. The revelation, if it comes at all, will come in a small fraction of a second with an unconscious gesture, a gleam of the eye, a brief lifting of the mask that all humans wear to conceal their innermost selves from the world. In that fleeting interval of opportunity, the photographer must act or lose his prize. That really goes back to that first quote that I talked about, but it's really about being able to see that moment when it's actually there, and knowing your equipment, knowing your art, knowing your seeing your vision, and being able to recognize when that photograph is to be taken. It's not a matter of just shooting at any time. I mean, certain things, yeah, you can get away with that, like say still lifes. You can get away with that, but you can't do that with candid photography. You can't do that with portraiture, because people move and they do things, and they change, and their bodies change, and their perspective changes, and things happen, and they're stressful, and this and that. Same with, say, nature photography or landscape photography. You got to be at the right place at the right time, be able to see the light, be in the right position, have chosen the right lens, and then be able to see it far enough to create it. And Ansel Adams was the king of that as far as his pre-visualization skills in nature photography, shooting in Yosemite National Park and all over the United States. So really some amazing stuff there too. Another great photographer that you should definitely consider studying, which I have done. By the way, there are some great books by Yousuf Karsh, as well as Ansel Adams, of course, that you can pick up on Amazon. If you head over to Cazillo.com/support us, you can go into that Amazon box right there, type in what you want to type. All purchases that you make support the website, which is always appreciated, and it'll keep me making more videos for you guys, so that's good. I thought I would leave you with one kind of funny quote of Yousuf Karsh, and this has always been on my Facebook, and so I really thought it was cool. The trouble with photographing beautiful women is that you never get into the dark room until after they've gone. And back in the day, that was the way it was. You'd be in the dark room to actually edit the picture, rather than being in the dark room with the beautiful woman. So sometimes we are lucky enough to be able to do both, to be able to photograph our beautiful wives and girlfriends, but not always. Or maybe it's a boyfriend. Same thing. Yeah, it's Yousuf has definitely impacted my life, and I implore you to find a photographer out there that really impacts your life, and I hope it's me, but I also hope that there are other photographers in history that really have created images that talk to you too. So let me know who those people are in the comments. I'd love to see some of those. Greg Cazillo, Cazillo.com. Thanks, guys. Keep shooting.